This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
This is your I think I need a visit to the Ammortal Chamber leader fan radio network.
Tweet that.
And KFAN.com. 2 minutes and 33 seconds past the hour of 3 o'clock Central Daylight Time. Welcome back. It's a Monday savvy afternoon Gabathon edition of the Bumper to Bumper program on a slightly less corn sweaty Monday afternoon here in the Twin Cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul. I am the host of the program. My name is Dan Barreiro. Gaardsy is back, and we will be with you until 6:30 this very evening. We're delighted you're a part of the festivities today. We do apologize for the late start of the show. Come to find out that for the second time in the last week or so, Peter Bursich apparently is out to sabotage the Bumper to Bumper program.
No way!
Last week it was he forgot
To join us
from training camp, right?
Yes.
And apparently today he didn't forget to join Tenna, who I think is filling in for Common
All week.
and wouldn't stop talking.
Oh, my God!
So the show ended late. The program ended late. That's why we started apparently a minute early. So what's Peter Bursich got against us? Do we know? I thought we had a good working vibe with him.
I thought so, too. But maybe there's something we need to discuss with him.
Would you like to join me in the Ammortal Chamber? Do you know what I'm talking about?
My curiosity is piqued.
And it's, I think, spelled AMMORTAL Chamber. This came to my attention via Courtney Cronin.
Okay.
And she noticed a tweet from, I must be someone who covers the Lions. The name is Sarah Barshop. Is that how it's pronounced?
Okay.
ESPN NFL Nation reporter. No, actually covering the Rams. What am I talking about? Not Detroit. The Rams. I always associate this quarterback with Detroit, even though he's no longer with Detroit.
Matt Stafford.
So here's the text that Sarah sent out. Shortly after practice began, Matthew Stafford walked into this Ammortal Chamber, which helps with, quote, restoration and rejuvenation.
I'm staring at it right now.
Stafford will not practice today. And I think was this tweet from today or yesterday? Yeah, it's from today. Today's
morning.
The 11th, right?
Yeah. A couple hours ago.
So is this just how's it pronounced? Hyperbaric chamber? Is this the pure oxygen thing? I want to know what's inside that trailer because couldn't we all use with a little restoration and rejuvenation? Something tells me that KFAN should have one of these trailers.
We definitely should.
In the Continental Diamond parking lot. Well, they probably wouldn't like that because it would take up too many places. But maybe in the underground part, somewhere where we would all have at various times access to restoration and rejuvenation. What the hell's going on inside that trailer? Do we know?
I just Googled it, so this is my research. And here's the AI overview. It's a wellness device, of course, that combines multiple therapies like pulsed electromagnetic fields.
I love it.
Vibroacoustic sound.
What's that?
Probably just nice sounds that bounce back and forth. I'm not sure.
Smooth jazz?
Could be.
Okay.
I bet you get to choose.
Probably.
Multi-wavelength light therapy and molecular hydrogen inhalation.
Jeez.
To promote relaxation, mental clarity, and overall well-being. It's designed to activate the parasympathetic nervous system, helping the body naturally restore itself.
So, is this trailer just there for Matthew Stafford? Is this something the Rams offer any player who wants it? I'd be very disappointed if it turns out that the Vikings, supposedly the most withered and wild and progressive, player-friendly relations organization in sports, is being left behind regarding this Ammortal Chamber. What do we know? Or do we?
Well, I imagine they have a lot of the same technologies. I don't know if they have Ammortal specifically.
Okay.
We should go over to the other side of training camp every once in a while and see.
Are we allowed?
Yeah, I mean, where the fans are and stuff. You can peer into the weight room. Maybe we'll see what's going on there. But the Ammortal Chamber deposit, I'm on the website, ammortal.com.
I'm guessing this is a pricey item.
What would you guess it costs?
Oh, so like to buy
you can buy
one of
your
these
own
trailers?
Yes, and they actually have clinics. And actually, there's a lot of companies in town now that are doing like red light therapy, green light therapy, all these different kinds of therapies. It is very with it and wow now.
This sounds like something Aaron Rodgers would be in on, correct?
Totally, yes.
I'm going to guess for the trailer?
Well, here's all I have. It says basically the bed that you lie on and all the stuff that goes with it.
So is that all you can do in the trailer is lie in bed? Can you like walk around?
Oh, there's probably room.
Okay.
But I think most people would probably lie down in it.
I'm going to guess $350,000.
You're overshooting a little bit. Now, the trailer might be $300K, but what's available on their website is $159,500.
Well, that sounds like a bargain.
Financing is available with payments as low as $3,000 a month. You need a 10% deposit, and then they'll follow up with final payment and installation details.
Do you think Lexus from Wayzata guy would pay for that for us? He's got...
I bet he has one. Charlie probably has done red light therapy. But I think he's playing golf at a very nice country club.
Red light therapy, and what's the other?
Well, there's red light, there's green light, there's blue. It's like every light does something, apparently.
It does?
I guess, and that's part of what this chamber... It looks like the gentleman that's doing in the demonstration here...
Does this include a cryogenic chamber? Is that where you go into a deep freeze? Also, is that considered part of this, or is that different? Is that separate?
Seems like that's separate.
Okay.
It seems like that's separate. But yeah, they've got a whole website and a bunch of...
The Ammortal Chamber. Like I said, I'm curious whether the Rams have this or Matthew Stafford. He's made a lot of money, right? A lot of money over his career. And there's no reason for Shaquille O'Neal to resent that, but he's made a lot of money. And I'm thinking he could rent one pretty easily. If he's longer in the tooth now. He's saying, look, if I'm going to extend my career, I got to pull out all the stops, almost a la LeBron James, right? I'm assuming LeBron James has like a fleet of these.
He probably started it, yeah.
Because, I mean, what do we heard? We heard LeBron, the estimates were he spends over $1 million a year.
That's the rumor.
On keeping himself going and young, which, again, is a bargain for him, right? That's tip money.
When you just opted into a $55 million player extension.
That's it. I wonder, who needs one of these? Caitlin Clark needs an Ammortal Chamber.
Seriously.
Have they tried using that on her in Indianapolis? Just wondering.
I'm looking again at their website. It says used by health professionals, wellness clinics, and pro athletes nationwide. And then they have the logos of Major League Baseball, the Denver Broncos.
Okay.
United States Olympic Team.
Oh, man.
Goop, of course. Gwyneth Paltrow's company, right? For people. And then the National Football League. So I don't know if they are NFL partners for everybody. I would imagine we have to have one of these at TCO. Or something like it.
Something similar. It's just, it appears more impressive when it's seemingly all inside this one chamber.
It's like a trailer.
A trailer, yeah. It looks like a really cool trailer. The logo, how would you describe the logo? Did you see the logo? Via the Sarah Bart. She's got a photo of the trailer, although it doesn't look enormously big, come to think of it. Now that I sort of look at the whole photo. But they got a really cool-looking logo, kind of a swirly...
It's like a swirling circle.
Swirling circle kind of a logo. Looks withered and wow, does it not?
Yeah.
So, I just like the way she wrote this. Shortly after practice began, Matthew Stafford walked into this Ammortal Chamber, which helps with restoration and rejuvenation. Can it give you younger skin?
Probably. I feel like it can do everything.
Now, I thought, in Stafford's case... The problem was he got some back issues. Wasn't that what I thought I'd read?
Yes. Yes, that's true.
And maybe that, so how much of this
But they do work on pain relief, wound healing, as well as enhanced recovery.
How much of this is mental? How much is this physical? And as a texter asks, are mere mortals ever allowed to walk inside the Ammortal Chamber?
For $160,000, you can have your own.
Then you've answered it. Mere mortals are not allowed to do so.
So you
can you rent for a little less than that?
No, but they do have, it looks like clinics have purchased these. So I'm sure there's clinics in town that probably have something like it. Yeah, you lay down. They've got the All these different
sounds
coils.
Inviting. I'm not going to lie to you.
You put the molecular hydrogen.
Can you get
in
an
your
old-fashioned massage? Is that one? I mean, I assume you can get everything in there.
I don't think you want it.
Are there like technicians in there, or can you do all this stuff on your own? You hit a button and you go to this chamber, and then you go to this thing, and then
I think you just do it on your own.
And what about was it Michael Jackson who had the first? Was that the first hyperbaric chamber we heard about? Didn't he have with like pure oxygen?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Wasn't that him? Among other things, I thought that was the case. Maybe I'm wrong. Well, we'll see. In any case,
healing light, music, voice, energetic fields,
so
deep vibration.
Is the assumption then that J.J. McCarthy, for example, wouldn't need this?
He's always in this state.
And it's too soon. That this is if you got some mileage on you and you're looking for some ways to extend? Or is it, no, you do this all along?
Yeah.
For J.J. McCarthy,
it's that.
You get in on this now, and maybe you can be a starting quarterback until you're 50.
I think that's probably more likely. That the younger people are doing it more.
Interesting. All right, let's get our first pause in now. Lots to get to today. 2 guests. Johnny Athletic is scheduled for 5:30 today. Gaardsy, well, I'd actually seen the story, but I'm glad he also brought it to my attention. Gaardsy saw it. It's an ESPN story by Dan Wetzel, one of their best reporters, and I can't even begin to describe it. It was one of those stories, you read a million stories in this business because that's part of what you do in the job, and nothing prepared me. Nothing prepared me for what ultimately Dan Wetzel reveals regarding this particular tragedy and this particular human interest case involving a high school athlete. It's a stunning story. Probably not surprising given the world in which we live, but it's a cautionary tale beyond belief. So Wetzel is scheduled for 4, is that correct?
4:02,
So I'm glad we got him so quickly because I think the story dropped yesterday.
It did.
So this is a great work by Gaardsy to get him on as quickly as he did. So let's get our first pause in. Some leftover Viking stuff to get to with Gaardsy from the preseason opener. We've got maybe several Duns ads and a lot between now and 6.
Fan.
Ed in St. Paul checking in. Dan, the Twins, I'm sure, were offered the Ammortal Chamber, but they found the price too rich, decided to go instead with the Nelson Cruz nap room. Buxton and Lewis should foot the bill. They basically live in there. Snarky wow. Ed in St. Paul.
Buxton's coming back tonight.
Coming out firing on a Monday, right? Yeah, I mean, I'll give him a little bit of leeway. It's still too good to pass up. So, very well played. Sam writes, I looked up where the Yankees' Ammortal Chamber is located. Do you know where it is, Gaardsy?
I'm going to guess somewhere downtown.
Target Field. They're struggling right now, though, aren't they? Aren't the Yankees in free fall right now? Think it ain't, Gal. Where are you? Are we seeing the Yankees at just the right time or just the wrong time? We're red hot.
7-10.
We're red hot, right?
And fun.
2 straight series.
Yep.
And who's the new kid?
It's Keishel.
He is, we'd be in first place with him if he'd stayed healthy all season.
It's tough.
But I think we'd probably still trade away everybody because the deals are too good to pass up. I think there's any question about that. 651 guy writes, Dan, did you see the Wisconsin State Fair? Looks like Steve Miller has been vindicated. What happened at the Wisconsin State Fair to vindicate Steve Miller abruptly announcing he was not going to be at the Great Minnesota Get-Together because he was canceling the rest of his fall tour?
I'll have to Google it.
I'm kind of curious about that.
I've been locked in on our state fair and getting ready for that 1 week from Thursday.
Red light therapy helps with inflammation. Inflammation. I believe it. Will it take care of a hangover? I don't know.
Flash flooding at the Wisconsin State Fair.
Oh, there I see. So there's the Miller vindication.
Early. Cancels final day.
What did he say? It's too dangerous. And I guess he is. I guess Miller's been vindicated. So they literally shut the fair down early?
A day early.
A day early. Okay.
They canceled the last day.
Wow. Was the place like flooded out? Do we know how bad it was?
Just looking at some pictures. Yeah.
It looks bad, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, Miller vindicated. He's right. Hendo wants to know if Stafford's breaking down film. Hold on. In the chamber, or just playing Call of Duty a la Kyler Murray. That's Hendo. Boy, the good text coming in, man. Very witty ones this week early. Tom from Savage, is it too late to say Max Brosmer trained at Buck Hill, so he's therefore one of us, a la Lindsey Vaughn? Was he born in New Hampshire? He went to New Hampshire. Where's he from? Do you remember?
I think he was born in Iowa, but he grew up in Georgia.
Oh, is that? Oh, that's right. I think you're right. I remember the Georgia part.
I'm pretty sure he was born.
So he's semi one of us.
He's Midwest sensibilities. And I told you,
Keokuk?
Don't give him the ball.
Keokuk? Well, yeah. Well, the center tried to give him the ball once.
That's
and he fumbled
true.
a snap.
Yeah, that was tough.
The problem, though, with the campaign of this show to get him to be the backup at worst is Sam Howell actually performed reasonably.
I thought he was not outstanding. That's hyperbolic, but he was fine.
He was fine.
He was good.
And again, he's playing backups. But what you're looking for, is not a worst case scenario that he continues to struggle, because then you really do feel like you might have a problem. In fact, didn't Lavelle write one of his Sunday predictions was that the Vikings would go outside the organization to acquire a number 2?
Yes.
Now, I think he wrote this. The column was in before the Howell performance.
Yes.
On Saturday. And we all kind of wondered about it. And I'm not ready to say that's still not a possibility. But he played like a backup, a guy who's a legitimate backup is supposed to play.
Well, it was funny, yes. And then I think Lavelle, though, then silenced his own alarm in his most recent column by basically saying Howell shows...
He's Sir Wongan already?
I think he did. I didn't read the piece today, but I saw the headline as I was talking to people and reading some things. Yeah, so I think he's backpedaled a little bit.
Willow Mark Rosen's cat guy writes, Edina has already claimed Max Brosmer as one of theirs on their Wikipedia page. Max Brosmer.
That does need to become a recurring theme.
It does, actually.
We need to remind people of that as much as we can.
Milwaukee got about 14 inches of rain Saturday or Sunday. I had missed this. Whole city underwater. That's not good. By the way, is it Pat Kessler's birthday today?
That's what Twitter tells me. So I wished him a happy birthday.
Did we confirm it? Did he confirm it?
I don't know if he has, but people close to the situation on Twitter have been wishing him a happy birthday, so I'm going with it.
Did you see
79 this year, I think.
I thought he was 82.
No, I think it's 79.
Oh, okay. Did you see who sent out, a former colleague of his at CCO, I think she sent out a photo lauding him. It's one of those fake sincerity Channel 4 poses.
Yes.
He's wearing a blazer. Have you seen that shot?
That was one of the ways I confirmed it. That was Tracy Perlman.
Perlman, that's right, yes.
Yes, I have. And he's got his glasses. Yeah, I know. It's so fake. Is that
like the quintessential Kessler pose, in all seriousness?
Yes, it is.
Oh, my God. So what's he doing on his birthday? Do we know? Is he going to be back in on location with us Wednesday?
As long as he's
been out of town.
Yes, as long as he's
get arrested?
Not arrested or hospitalized from his next bar fight.
Yeah. Well, that's all very...
We plan on having him Wednesday.
That's all very possible. So we obviously on Sermons talked a decent amount first hour of the show regarding the Vikings preseason opener, and I don't know how much more you have to add. I know you were out of town, and you were going to still try to get into some of it.
Oh, yeah.
I ended up seeing only, I think, the first quarter and change, because I had to get to the Irish Fair over in St. Paul. And, by the way, it was beastly. I don't know how it was where you were. It was beastly hot again Saturday.
It was comfortable. A little further north.
Oh, my God. It was no air moving. Corn sweat index very high. Now, today I think it is a little drier, and I have no idea what we're going to have the rest of the week. But I do think that the Rondell White news. Now, do we have an update?
Moore.
Rondell White. That's very different. Yeah.
Baseball player?
Yes. Do we have an update on his condition? Do we have any kind of confirmation on what looked like a pretty cataclysmic injury? Has anybody gone official?
Not that I've seen.
Okay.
I don't know if it's
certainly
out.
Looked bad.
Yes.
Every reason to think it probably, and it's his other knee, by the way. This isn't the one that sidelined him from a year ago. And look, I'm not going to sit here and say that he was the key to the season because he was a bit of a long shot going in because of the amount of time he's missed since he became a pro. He was worth a shot. If nothing else, it was also punt returns, right? So we're still going to have to sweat that out, right? About finding if we have on the roster or looking outside the roster for a return guy. And that's one of those jobs that nobody cares about until you have a guy who can't do it. And then he fumbles every 6 plays or he goes backwards, -7. And then it's, illegal use of hands, illegal block in the back. And then you got your second-year quarterback who is in his first season starting at the 3-yard line, right? After half the distance of the goal.
Yeah.
So, and it is uncanny how this happens to some people in sports. It really is. First play. And you could see it immediately.
Yeah.
You could absolutely see the way he kind of aligned his legs together, the way he went down and crumpled, and then just sort of held. You knew it was something. It was nothing normal about the way he went down. And of course, the worst part is he didn't get anywhere. Right. He's going sideways. It wasn't. He didn't. It wasn't like, whoa, man, made 4 people miss, and absolutely nothing happened on the play. So that was obviously the bad news. Now, again, he wasn't going to be, I think, counted on to be a main receiver option. But I think it was the old, all right, you add pieces, right? And you give multidimensional guys a chance to participate. Yes. And maybe he can make 5 over the course of a season sneaky plays that keep drives alive, that can help you be the team that you want to be. And now that's obviously over.
And just like you said, the human part of it where the guy's just trying to get his career back going, right? As
exactly
good a college player as we've seen. We all remember him at Purdue. He got hurt against the Gophers in 2019. I remember the quarterback and Rondale Moore got hurt on the same play in one of the times that the Gophers were over there in West Lafayette. And
yes.
So you saw it when he gets carted off. He's got the towel over his head. He's throwing his hands up in the air. It's as bad as it gets. It's as heartbreaking as it gets. And even KOC talked about that.
The cruelty, and he's not the first, but like you say,
it's football.
You miss an entire season. You rehab. You get yourself in a position where maybe you get another bite at the apple, right? And you don't even have a chance to prove what you might be capable of. You can't even prove it doesn't even matter that your surgically repaired knee is still healthy when the other knee has given out on you. So it's that was the saddest part of a day that otherwise, obviously, I think we'll both agree was solid for the number 1 quarterback. I don't think we played hardly any starters defensively that I recall. Very few.
Right.
And it showed the first drive, Texans went right down the field and scored rather methodically. But again, what does that mean? You're not using most of your main people. And you kept McCarthy just out there for the one drive, right? He didn't even come out for a second drive.
Yeah, which actually annoyed me.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I went that far, but we talked about this yesterday. I also felt if you're going to, it's the old deal of don't play him at all, or if you're going to play him, then put him out there for 2 or 3 series.
Yes.
He sounds like he said he didn't want to put other people out there too, because I think 4 of our starting 5 offensive linemen were with him.
Okay.
And I think Darisaw was the only one who wasn't. And it was the idea of, I guess, well, I'm not going to put him out there.
Which makes sense,
but you're back to, well, why not put all of them out there for a little bit longer,
Or not at all. Why bother if we're going to go just like that? And what was he, 4 of 7 or whatever it was?
And they ended in a field goal. I mean, if he ends in field goals, we all went crazy like it was the greatest drive ever. If drives end in field goals during the season, we're going to rip them and rip the offense. It was a strange deal, but it is what it is. All right, bottom of the hour break. A-section stuff to get to here early. A couple things stuck in my craw over the course of the weekend that I don't understand at all. And then, as I mentioned, a lot of toy department stuff and some tragedy from the toy department coming up with Dan Wetzel, ESPN reporter. Remarkable news story that he has up. Tragic in so many elements. He will be with us at 4:02. You can find that story it's on the cover of every, I mean, it's ESPN.com. It's front, center, and should be, given the ramifications of that particular piece. He'll lay that down with us, and we'll break that down with him, I should say, at 4:02. the defender flagged, right, 612 guy for the hip drop tackle on Moore. I missed most of the game. My understanding, I know there was a lot of discussion during, right after the injury, and even after the game in the locker room and in the press conferences. But as I read it, that tackle was not illegal. It doesn't even fit the proper definition of a hip drop tackle. Unfortunate. You can argue, I guess, if you want to, too vicious, whatever. But that's what I've been told, and that's what I've read.
Yep.
That it doesn't fit the definition, as frustrating as it might have been. And there was no flag on. Well, was there a flag in the play on us? I don't remember.
I think there was.
I think there might have been.
Yeah.
But there was nothing flagged at the moment, and nor should there have been, unfortunately, from the Viking standpoint. Larry Mondello guy checks in. I heard one of the fastest growing new wellness treatments, especially in more rural areas, is a detox treatment called a corn sweat bath. A corn sweat bath, quite possibly. Is Kessler calling it this birthday his bar fight birthday?
He could.
As some have suggested he should, even though technically speaking, there was not a fight, correct?
No, there could have been. Conditions were right before a fight.
Today is nice, writes Love the Grumgal, low humidity, and guess what? Smoky. We can't win. Yeah, I mean, that's the pattern I guess we're in. We did get confirmation yesterday, Gaardsy, that this is the fifth moistest when it comes to corn sweat index and dew point since like the 1930s in the Twin Cities.
That sounds right.
Yeah, again, recency bias, you get caught up in it and you feel like it's happening worse because it's happening now. But that apparently the research, the analytics confirm that this has not been a particularly productive summer. And so we're now heading into that stretch where we go, all right, it can go either way here, right? It
yes.
could be, we're going to get rewarded by one of the best late summers and early falls in recent memory. Or we're just going to get continually pummeled, and the state fair is going to be very hot again and steamy. And then we're going to go from hot and steamy to a high of 46 degrees and freezing rain.
Yeah, and have no snow time, right? In early October.
That's it. That seems to be the...
chance of thunderstorms later in the week again. It seems like that's weekly.
Yeah, that's true. There's been a lot of that.
Multiple days, day after day.
Well, the other thing was because the forecast for the weekend was blown because Saturday was supposed to be a lot drier. And it ended up, whatever, I don't know if it was dendritic snow got in the way. I'm not sure. Something changed, and it ended up being moist pretty much the entire weekend. I'm seeing there's a lot of postmortems being done on the Mary Moriarty regime and reaction to her announcement. What day was that? Was it Thursday? Wednesday or Thursday?
Thursday night.
Thursday night. That she said... they're not going to basically, she did her own, you're not going to have Dick Nixon to kick around anymore speech. It was every bit, she wallowed in victimhood every bit as dramatically as Richard Nixon once did before he became, by the way, president of the United States. And, it's too much about me and I want to concentrate on policy and I'm considered controversial because the media writes about the wrong things. It's, like I said, it's a victimhood tour is what it amounts to. And here's the cliche that's starting to bug me. I want to get your reaction to this as well. And I'm seeing this written, too. It's, you know what? To paraphrase Billy Guerin, she ran on a progressive platform, and you can't get mad at her for delivering.
But you know what?
And I'm thinking to myself, I might believe that message if people were consistent about it. But I would ask some of the lefties, the lefty lickspittles who are trying to run interference for her now regarding that issue. It's like, hey, people couldn't handle it. She said this is what she was going to do, and people could not handle it. She delivered. Why should anybody be surprised? How often do we hear those same individuals after a Republican is elected, including the President of the United States? How often have those same individuals said, well, he can't be surprised. I mean, this is what he said he was going to run on, and he delivered it. The moral being obvious. Those individuals felt that the policies that have been implemented were flawed enough, or decisions were flawed enough, that no matter whether he was delivering on what he was is exactly doing what he was supposed to do, that those individuals still feel obligated to say, no, that doesn't work. You can't have that both ways. And that's when we tend to hear it. If it's somebody you kind of support or want to hold on to that support, you go, did exactly what she said she was going to do. And what that precludes, of course, what that eliminates is, well, is it possible you could be a progressive and say that she stubbed her toe too often on too many major decisions? The idea that because she is a progressive and delivered quote-unquote progressive policies doesn't mean, once again, that there were not significant mistakes made along the way, that even if you're a progressive, you might say, no. The best example, again, I'll say, if you're, I would say, even if you are a huge believer in holding cops responsible for crossing the line, especially post George Floyd, you can believe that. It's a noble, I think, viewpoint. Most of us share it. But even if you are a firm believer in that as a progressive, is it not also possible you go, this case was bad from the beginning, the Londrigan case. It was not the right case to be used as an example for here's how progressive I am, and I'm going to damn well deliver on what I said about holding cops responsible. The details matter in a given case. So I happen to believe you could be progressive and still say, no, Mary, it's the wrong case. Doesn't add up. Your own people in your own office, who are presumably many of them on your side, said, not going to work. This does not add up to what you think it does. Ultimately, they farm it out. And what does that agency say? No.
We don't have it.
We don't have it after spending, what was it? What we say, $500,000?
It was a lot of money.
$500,000
bucks.
It was
DC attorneys, right?
And I got to give, is it Eric Roper?
Yeah.
I got to give him a lot of credit. He had, I thought, the best piece I saw in the Star Tribune, in which this is some of the stuff, this includes some of the stuff that, that he brought up. Because he reminds us, again, would most people consider Keith Ellison and Governor Walz progressives?
Probably.
Certainly more that way than, yes. I think Walz more now than he was before he became governor. I think in terms of policy and approach, he has headed that direction. Now, we can argue that a little bit. Ellison, for sure. Those are the two individuals, really the governor, but Ellison. Remember the case that they took away from her? And it was controversial, and you could even argue that that's something they shouldn't have done. This was the McKeever case, the murder of Zariah McKeever. This is in 2022, remember? And there was frustration about some of the plea deals that Moriarty's office had offered to juveniles. This is part of what Roper points out. And so ultimately, the governor intervened so the state could prosecute that case. Those are two progressives. Now, you can argue to varying degrees or whatever. And they may say, well, I agree with a lot of the progressive agenda, but no, this was a bad decision you're making in our view. And to pretend this is sort of like, well, she told us exactly what she was going to do. The specifics in individual cases should matter. You'll recall also, the rumor was he was going to intervene in the Londrigan case, where then ultimately she dropped it, right? And,
yes.
And you'll recall the press conference she gave, which was about, as you want to talk about, and I thought part of being a progressive is holding everybody accountable, including yourself. That's supposed to be the bit about being a progressive. And she did nothing but. She ran from any responsibility. It was almost like it all kind of happened to her, and now she was left with no other decision to make but to to drop the case. And what happened afterwards? And we talked about it at the time. Roper nicely lays it out. Here's his direct quote. Rather than simply slamming the governor's decision, she assigned homophobic motives to his actions.
That's right.
Accusing Walz of treating her poorly because she is, quote, a queer woman in this role. Roper writes, she then doubled down on the laughable claim in subsequent conversations. None of this ever happened with Mike Freeman, Moriarty told her staff, referring to her predecessor while sidestepping the idea that her different methods might invite hardball consequences. So when people say to me, I don't know why anybody should be surprised, you know what? She stuck to her convictions. She stuck to her principles. She held on to what she's about. And I'm thinking, really? Is that an example of it? Accusing the governor of the state,
Tim Walz,
of basically, he wouldn't. There's no chance Walz would have even threatened to intervene the second time, except for the fact that she is a queer woman in this role. I mean, come on, people. So for those of you just trying to, like I said, turn this into, well, you might not like, she said it. She said it after she made her big announcement. I knew a lot of people were going to push back because this is what happens when you try to buck the system. And it's convenient because it takes away any of the possibility that even if you are progressive, you'd say, well, day to day, in a number of cases, and I don't want to cite all of them because we got into them again last week regarding some judges' reaction, that in a number, the way I think you convince people, especially people on the fence, who are a little leery of the progressive approach, but say, all right, she got voted in, let's see where she goes with it. The least convincing way to convince those folks that, no, this makes some sense, is in individual cases that were as fundamentally flawed as they were, making the decisions that she made. Leaving out, I still remember the press conference early when it was clear she was going to prosecute Londrigan, leaving out such key on-the-record detail regarding policy, law enforcement policy in that case. I remember saying it on the air. She's rigged it. She's just decided, I've been waiting for a case involving a cop, and by God, I'm going to squeeze this cop through the meat grinder, whether this particular officer deserves it or not. So again, if you're middle of the road, willing to see how this goes, the best way to convince, I think, those skeptics that there's something worth trying and sustaining here, it's making better individual decisions. This isn't that difficult. But we work ourselves up into this pretzels, trying to go with the cliche you hear every time when it's somebody on your side. She delivered exactly what she was supposed to deliver. I don't know why anybody's acting like they're surprised at this sort of thing, apparently including the governor, the state of Minnesota. And then I'm just left furrowing my brow going, well, yeah, but that lets her off the hook too, because on that basis, she can never be held accountable for any of the individual acts in which she has been involved. I mentioned on Enough Said, he ran for the office several years. Ryan Winkler. Ryan Winkler, a hardcore righty? I don't think so. Look him up. I don't think so. Ryan Winkler the other day was just basically saying, well, look, it's all delivery. It's all approach. And if you want to convince everybody, including law enforcement, that you're going to hold guilty law enforcement people responsible, you have to give the impression that you're interested in real justice and following a given specific case without pretending it goes down a road that you want it to because you feel like this agenda and this philosophy. And he said there's not any trust there at all. There's, in terms of law enforcement, I think the term he used was demonizing of them. And again, I was actually, there was one quote here, one of these stories from Andy Luger that disappointed me. Let me see if I can find that story. Mario Moriarty ran with very strong views on how she wanted to change the criminal justice system. While I don't share many of her views, I've always respected that she did exactly what she said she would do. And I would say respectfully to Andy Luger, you are doing the same thing. You're then precluding any evaluation of specific conduct and specific cases that call lots of things into question about how you best implement this progressive package. And again, whether you're actually interested in justice or you're interested in following up, regardless of what the particulars in a given case might be. So that's it. You know what I'm saying? The comeback of, because we can always use that comeback, and it rarely, I think, satisfies critics of a particular politician, right?
They told us.
You just throw up your hands
elections
and you go, why are you mad? They said elections, exactly. Elections have consequences as a cliche, can't only be invoked when your side wins and other people are bellyaching about it. Then it's like, well, there's no meaning to that, because then it's too easy. And in effect, because it can be used against you and used the same way. It's like, well, what did you expect? This person is hardcore righty, and they said they were going to be. And that's exactly the policies that they implemented. But wait a minute. This policy might be illegal. This policy, fairness was a question. This policy, whether there's any real sense of justice being meted out, needs to be part of the discussion. As I said, I didn't even talk about judges who have no anti-progressive agenda at all, but still found themselves going, whoa. I get what you're trying to do. Restorative justice, I get what you're trying to do regarding sentences, and you don't want kids in and out of jail. But when you come to me as a judge and say, well, the report indicates the degree to which this individual is headed in a better direction, and this is a good case study in what we're attempting to do, and the judge says, but the report doesn't back up what you are alleging regarding that person's behavior since he went to jail for his original crime. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. So I hope, and Roper, I thought, laid it out very nicely. In fact, there was another key sentence from him that got my attention. Now that's the wrong story. Here it is, because he lays out. I mean, it's an extremely the Hennepin County attorney is constantly under a spotlight. It's not an easy job, right? Right.
Which we talked about Friday on TV.
It's exactly it. It's not an easy job. So he quotes Moriarty, the stories that generally come out are not what the office is doing or why, which is false. That's exactly what the stories are. It's been I'm controversial, I'm doing this thing. That's just gibberish. That doesn't even make sense. He writes, it can be illuminating to listen to Moriarty speak at length because she makes a compelling criminology-informed arguments about, say, the impact of prison on young people, often emphasizing the research, and started a podcast to chat publicly with national experts. But she's a prosecutor, not a professor, and it often seems like she expects the public to sign up for her seminar. Such high-level discussions are always going to take a backseat to a family crying in front of the cameras. It's human nature. The top prosecutor has to be willing to take the heat, and a reformer needs to be a particularly skilled messenger to build a case for change. Parenthetically, drafting a PR firm to do that work, as Moriarty's office has done, is no substitute. The job requires thick skin. And despite Moriarty's comments that there have been too much focus on her, the controversies are really centered on the work of her office. Bingo. Yes. It's the media's job, after all, to listen when community members say justice isn't being served. In fact, ironically, if somebody else was in office who was far to her right, she would applaud media that would say that reports that family members are saying justice is not done. Correct? That's the irony of this, too. But now she's in a position of authority. Her wonky technique has also at times left her flat-footed under fire, conflating personal conflict, or I should say conflating professional conflict with personal attack. Yeah, it's all laid out there very nicely. I thought he did a good job of summarizing the whole thing. So the next time somebody comes up and he says, well, one thing you got to say, she stuck to her gun. And it's like, well, yeah, she did, but in cases in which they didn't even fit what she thought her agenda was. Because it's way too easy to otherwise just go out throughout that generalization and say, well, there's nothing to see here. There's nothing to analyze here because she's a progressive doing progressive things. I will maintain, again, you can be a progressive and say she might have done more damage to the progressive cause than anybody in the last 10 years, and that it might be harder for the next person who wants to be as progressive as she is because of the conduct in individual cases that did nothing to convince, I think, people who are kind of stuck in the middle on this, whether there was a method to the madness. Top of the hour break. We'll return. I say it's partly toy department, but it's tragedy. And it's a remarkable story at ESPN.com. Dan Wetzel put it together, and we will give you details of that when he joins us next.